Hello, my name is Yoli Medina, civil attorney, and today I'm doing a video on two very special women, Mica Miller and Nikki McCain. Mica Miller lives on the East Coast in South Carolina, or she lived in South Carolina, and Nikki McCain lives on the West Coast in California, in Northern California. Both of these women were subjected to abuse, and Mica Miller, as everybody knows or has heard, was found face down in a swamp, and it was ruled a self-unaliving. Nikki Taylor is missing. She's been missing since mid-May of 2024. She was last heard from on May 17th, 2024. She went missing 2 weeks before she was going to testify against her husband for domestic violence charges. Now, the domestic violence charges have since been dismissed because Nikki is missing, and there's allegedly no witness to testify against her husband, Tyler McCain. So both of these women have documented abuse, and one was found allegedly self-unalived in a swamp, and the other one is missing. And the interesting thing about these two women is that they belong to a community. Mica Miller was the preacher's wife, or John P. Miller's wife, who's the pastor at Solid Rock, or I don't know if it still exists, but the church Solid Rock in South Carolina. And Nikki McCain was married to Tyler McCain, who was part of the Redding Rancheria Native American tribe. At least that's what's been reported in some articles. His mother-in-law, Nikki's mother-in-law lived on that reservation. And the last time Nikki was heard from, she was driving her mother-in-law's car home. And it's very vague. I don't have all the details. I don't think anybody really does, other than the text messages that that's what she was going to do, is drive her mother-in-law's car home. And her mother-in-law lived or lives on that Redding Rancheria reservation. So both of these women had some kind of a community, and both of them were subjected to domestic violence. And when you look at their pictures, they had social media, and when you look at their pictures, they look happy. They have the biggest smiles. And if you just look at the thumbnail for this video, you'll see they had the best smiles. And they were smiling. But behind the scenes, it was just black darkness. And the communities that they were in, whether they saw it or not, it was there. And for those who turned a blind eye to these ladies' plight, it's really sad. Because it is when a victim of abuse is trying to get out of the situation that's the most dangerous part of being in such a relationship. When they finally get the strength to leave, when they finally get the strength to do something, something happens to them. And, it's easy for people to just now start talking about it because Nikki McCain is missing and Mica Miller was found in a swamp, face down, under suspicious circumstances, in my opinion. And just recently, the FBI raided John P. Miller's home. The FBI raided his home. And it's interesting because there's various statutes under which the FBI can get involved. And I'm going to go over those statutes. And these federal domestic violence statutes, they cover the circumstances involving Nikki McCain and Mica Miller. And what I was saying, it's easy for us to now talk about it. But when you have someone who's in the middle of it, going through this and is asking for help in so many ways, and the community doesn't recognize it, it doesn't see it, is in denial, or whatever other reason, they don't help. In fact, they might make the situation worse. It's devastating for families, and Nikki McCain had children. Mica Miller did not have children, but she has a family. She has a mother. She has a father. She has sisters. Nikki McCain has sisters. She has kids. And it's devastating. And so I wanted to bring light to this because it doesn't seem like Nikki McCain's case has gone national like Mica Miller's case. And the pressure, I would think, of all these people protesting for Mica Miller, doing these YouTube videos, and shining a light on her case, I think helped. It helped to put the pressure on the authorities to do something. And so what I want to do is go over the statutes that allow the FBI to get involved. And first of all, let me share the screen here. So these are the statutes that they're federal violence against women statutes for federal prosecution. And the first one is interstate travel to commit domestic violence. So, people who are in situations where their spouse actually crosses state lines to commit domestic violence, that's who would be subject to this statute. And also it applies, you'll see, to Native American or Indian country grounds. I think that's what it's called. But it does apply because these Native American reservations, they're like their own little nation. So I'll show you the statute in a minute. And then there's the interstate stalking statute that applies. And that is when someone is stalking someone across the state lines or even online. And then there's number 3, the interstate travel to violate a protection order. So that's when there's a protection order and the abusing person who is subject to the protection order crosses state lines and violates that protection order. So there are remedies under the federal law that apply to both Mica, or could apply to both Mica and Nikki McCain. So I'm just going to focus on this interstate travel to commit domestic violence statute. And here it is. Travel or conduct of the offender. And it says, a person who travels in interstate or foreign commerce or enters or leaves Indian country or is present within the special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States with the intent to kill, injure, harass, or intimidate a spouse, intimate partner, or dating partner, and who, in the course of or as a result of such travel or presence, commits or attempts to commit a crime of violence against that spouse, intimate partner, or dating partner shall be punished as provided in subsection B. Subsection B are the penalties. And I'm not going to go over number 2. It's because number 2 is causing travel of victim. Well, this could apply also. A person who causes a spouse, intimate partner, or dating partner to travel in interstate or foreign commerce or to enter or leave Indian country by force, coercion, duress, or fraud, and who, in the course of, as a result of, or to facilitate such conduct or travel, commits or attempts to commit a crime of violence against that spouse, intimate partner, or dating partner shall be punished as provided in subsection B. So this actually really could apply to both cases, in Nikki's case and in Mica's case. And the penalties are severe. It's if they're found to have violated this statute, the abusing person could go to jail or could go to prison for life or any term of years if the death of the victim results. Now, in Mica Miller's case, if in fact the FBI is investigating under this statute, that's what John P. Miller would be could be subjected to life or any term of years, could be 50 years, who knows, if the death of the victim results. And so that's a pretty harsh punishment. The other one is for not more than 20 years if permanent disfigurement or life-threatening bodily injury to the victim results. And then number 3, for not more than 10 years if serious bodily injury to the victim results or if the offender uses a dangerous weapon during the offense. So this is what gives the FBI jurisdiction to get involved in these domestic violence cases. And so for Nikki McCain, she's been missing. And part of the struggle has been searching properties. Now, I know that the Redding Rancheria tribe has put up a reward for Nikki McCain to locate her, and various other entities put up a reward. And I think the last time I checked, it was up to $30,000. So it's so complicated in Nikki McCain's case because it involves a reservation. But the FBI could get involved if there's enough to show that there was domestic violence involving the crossing of the reservation and California. And so there was a creator who did do a show on Nikki McCain just recently. His name is Derek Levasseur, Detective Perspective. And I'll put the link to that show down below. And I just wish more people would talk about Nikki McCain because she's missing. And the domestic violence charges were dropped against her husband because she's missing. And it's very sad. She has children. And I would just hope that people would want to help this family. And it doesn't matter. You know, nobody's perfect. Nikki may not have been perfect. Mica may not have been perfect. But perfection, nobody's perfect. Perfection does not exist. So any flaws that they may have had, anything that they may have done in the process of being in this relationship should not even be an issue. Because they both suffered horrible abuse. And I don't even want to go into Nikki McCain's abuse because it was physical, it was documented, and it was horrific. And in Mica Miller's case, it was more of a mental abuse. She met him when she was very young. She met her husband when she was very young. She actually married a friend of his and then ended up getting married to John P. Miller. So he's known her since she was underage, I believe. And so there's a lot of mental abuse where she was doubting what was going on. And finally, when she came to learn what was going on and she kind of got a grip on things and kind of understood what was happening, she was found in a swamp face down. And people might know something. Just like I said, that they're in a community. There's a community. There's a church community in Mica Miller's case, and there's a Native American community on the Redding Rancheria reservation. There are communities that there might be somebody who knows something. In fact, there probably are people who know something. And the purpose of the reward in Nikki McCain's case is so that people come forward. People who may have had something to do with it, but want to come clean. And, you know, that even if Nikki McCain thought it was best to run away, change her identity, because her children were with her family, with her sisters, so her children were safe. And I just hope that more light is brought in, onto Nikki McCain's case, because that was the first video I ever did, even though it was the Idaho 4 that got me into YouTube. The first video I ever did was Nikki McCain, because I just resonated with her. I was, as an adult, I've never been a victim of domestic violence. I don't even know how, I can't even say that I've been there or I've been in such a situation, but I can feel it. I can put myself in the shoes of these women, and it can happen to anybody. And there's a lot of YouTubers, females, who have been subjected to domestic violence, and they're talking about it, and that's good. But just because I haven't been a victim of domestic violence doesn't mean I can't talk about it, because it should be talked about. And people who haven't been subjected to domestic violence should look at these things as well. I mean, it shouldn't be the victims, survivors, that are the ones that are bringing this up. It shouldn't be. It should be everybody. Everybody should be concerned about this. Because when there's domestic violence, there's usually other things going on, other crimes that perpetuate and perpetuate and perpetuate. And if we all are not on board, then it makes it harder to fight. And so anybody who knows anything about Nikki McCain, her case is in Redding, California, which is in Northern California, and I'm in Southern California. So if I could do something, I would, but I'm a practicing attorney, and I live, far away from Northern California. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. And anybody who has an interest in Nikki McCain's case, you can look at the first video that I did regarding her, and also Derek Levasseur's video. Now, I know Nancy Grace and JLR did videos initially, and they interviewed the family. So those are available on YouTube too. And I will put the links for Nikki McCain's case, all the shows that were done on that. But I was feeling that it was dying down I wasn't seeing much on hardly anything at all on Nikki McCain until I ran across Derek Levasseur. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. And if anybody knows anything about Nikki McCain or Mica Miller, please speak, because there's other things going on. When there's domestic violence, there's usually other things going on. And those other things could involve children, which is a big deal to me. Should be a big deal to everybody. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.